Welcome everybody to today's episode of this podcast series by the Icelandic Tourism Cluster. Our guest today is Ragnhildur Sigurðardóttir. She is the General Manager of the Snæfellsnes Regional Park, or Svæðisgarður Snæfellsnes in Icelandic. Ragnhildur has been a partner in the Nordic project from the very beginning, and we are very happy to have the opportunity today to speak to her. So welcome, Ragnhildur.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you. Thank you for finding your way to Reykjavik to record this podcast today. So you have been in the Nordic project from the very beginning. Can I ask you how you first heard about the project, and what were your first thoughts? Like, what was it that made you want to be in this journey?
Yeah, I don't really remember exactly how it started, but the regional park in Snæfellsnes is 10 years old now, and I'm the only member of staff. But of course, to get something done, you need to work with people. So we are always open for projects, and we have the Regional Park of Snæfellsnes have been involved in international and national projects every year since we started our work. But of course we are always working in Snæfellsnes. But if projects fits to our goals and I will sound very self-centered, but if you have one member of staff, the board have to use our time wisely. We cannot spread too much. So the people of Snæfellsnes, they collect, the owners of the regional park, they collect our main projects every year. And of course it's also a small world. I knew Ólöf Ýr and I knew Ásta, and then now I know you and Jessica and Cecilia, and there are so many other people. And also I have to admit that having Lofoten in the team and having this Nordic Regenerative Tourism, it just gave me some stomach feeling that this would be good.
I mean, kind of continuing with your work just on a bigger scale and connecting to people all over Iceland and internationally in the Nordics.
Yes, that's one of the things we thought we gained, but I have to admit that when I first heard of Nordic Regenerative Tourism, I thought, being this middle-aged woman that I am, okay, another word. And what does this really mean? And I think I was not the only one, because we spent a lot of time the first year just to make sure that we have the same understanding and working with the definition of the word. And I am so proud now to have been part of this from the start, because now I'm hearing regenerative tourism, all over, and also in other groups that I'm working with and international groups, people are thinking, okay, it's a great idea with regenerative tourism. Maybe we should do something, and then I can say, okay, we have already done that,
and we have defined it.
Yes, you can almost say that. But just to finish this thought about the word and the definition, from my point of view, and from our experience in Snæfellsnes, we first started to talk about sustainable tourism. And then, 10 years after that, plus we start to talk about responsible tourism. And this is also, of course, what was happening in Iceland, and the pledge, and you should, security, and you should take responsibility for yourself. And now the regenerative word, and I feel, of course, we are always on the same track. We're just developing. But I was always missing the community part when we are talking about, because of course we are still working on sustainability and we are still working on responsibility. Everyone, like if we think of tourists that travel around Snæfellsnes, we say there are no dangerous places, but it is dangerous behavior. And then our homework have to be so that people can get home safe and sound. And we do want this to be economic benefit and benefit for nature and everything. But it's also so important that there are benefits for the local community. And you can say that it was easy for us to say yes to regenerative tourism project, because this is what we are doing in the regional park. Because you have probably been around the world on beautiful peninsulas and with a lot of nature and culture, and people are not living there because it's so expensive. It just goes for summer holidays, and the tourism is kind of fake in a way. So this is what I understand with regenerative tourism in Snæfellsnes, that it takes into consideration the homework of the people. It involves the people and connects the people with scientists, with the companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can also say that the Nordic work on that should be able to be a role model for many other parts of the world, without us being arrogant. We also, of course, have a lot to learn from others, but it is this equal right and this democracy and this, between, you know what I mean, and the workers' right and this holistic approach that you don't live in a vacuum with your tourist company, that you, to be able to thrive, you need to give something back. You need to make sure that others grow around you. And if that are farmers producing food that you use in your restaurant, or if you share good knowledge about behavior with domestic and wild animals around you, all those things. So you take responsibility and also working together, having people with different interests sitting together at the table. And for example, example I use very much at home, when the fishermen were saying, I need to be able to get the fish from the boat and without tourists being everywhere. And then having the people from the municipality saying, yes, of course, I understand that. Let's make paths. Let's make places where the tourist can be safe and still enjoy this local work of life and look at the real Snæfellsnes. And this is so win-win, because I believe that most of us, both locals and our guests, want to behave in a responsible, sustainable way. And then if we are working regeneratively, and now we talk about regenerative agriculture and regenerative sectors, so I think we finally understand the words and the definitions.
Yeah, but I think also, like what you just say, they want to be responsible or regenerative, or they just want to behave in a way that that the area can benefit. But I think the problem is that many don't have the knowledge, right?
Yes.
And then they don't even think about that they are behaving maybe not responsibly.
Yes.
If we talk about the regenerative tourism in your life, because we talked a lot about definitions, and then we went into people, environment, business, and tied this all together. But if you look at your life, be it now private or professional, do you have an example of what regenerative tourism could be? Because it's like not one big concept. We said also in our project, it consists of so many little deeds, so many little examples. Do you have one for us?
Yeah, well, if I focus on this project and what we have learned from also all those wonderful partners in the countries around us, one big step is just not to be afraid. Just jump into the deep end of the pool and like, for example, if I quote Thor, who has been a co-worker with us from the start, the hotel manager of Hotel Snæfellsnes, he says, this is the way to go. Those of us in the tourist sector who will not understand regenerative tourism will be left behind. This is what our guests require. And if I quote the storyteller group that also have been involved with the regional park in this project from the start in Snæfellsnes, they are getting tourist what is the right word for it? People are coming to and buying their service because they are working with regenerative tourism. And then, we will probably talk more about the biggest project that we did last year as a case study in Snæfellsnes with the seals.
Yeah.
But just to underline that restaurants and hotels around a place where landowner, in our case Ytri-Tunga, are willing to open up their area for inhabitants and guests, and we look at that as a gift in a way, and we want to work with all the people, and we also welcome tourists. We want tourists. We really understand how good it is to have all those guests, and how important this can be for all sectors and for the economy of Snæfellsnes and for Iceland. But we still also understand that it put pressures on infrastructure, and the interests don't always go hand in hand. So if people are ready to do their best, I think we can get the best solution. So for example, if restaurants and hotels around Ytri-Tunga say, okay, come and sleep with us, eat our delicious food, and then it's only 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes to go to this great place where there are paths and parking places and signs, and then going the extra mile, going all the way, so that and I really believe that's a win-win situation, and behave according to, do the right thing for the seals, because we want this to be also next week, next month, next year, and we want, so I would say, like, examples from my professional life is just, for example, learning from Sweden, what they are doing with their breakfast table, that not everything have to be offered to guests, but the guests have to know before, and then they have preferences, and they say, okay, I'm going to eat that much, and then you don't have to throw away a lot of food. And this is a win-win situation, like we know, and this is also what I have experienced since I finished my education in environmental science late last century, that this is the way to go. This is the only way to go. We have to treat our nature and our environment like our home, and with respect and all those things. And we have to have the courage to do everything that we can. And I sometimes feel that people get so overwhelmed over the big questions, the big problems, that they decide to do nothing. And that is the most stupid thing of all. Yeah. So, because the solution is that we all take those small steps.
Exactly, all these little actions that we also mentioned in Nordic.
Yes.
That's true.
So, and we have been able to jump over so many steps by just learning and having this net of willing people who do understand and share and have the same understanding of what we are working on. So, for example, we didn't do exactly like Sweden, because we had we chose a little bit different path, because we are all gonna learn from each other. But we did have a survey about local food, and we did work, and we involved those who wanted in Snæfellsnes and we have many companies that are really working and developing their tourism. So a survey, more knowledge, and what do people think? What are the local food? Yeah, there have been interesting.
Yeah, it's still ongoing in all the countries, this survey, which is super interesting to see what people actually say. And I think that again goes into this awareness part, right? I just have to think about it, because in Germany, me and my family, we are running a little coffee house in a historic building, and we only offer like what the season offers. Like if it's strawberry season, we have strawberry cakes, and sometimes people are requesting strawberry cakes in the autumn, and strawberry season is in May, and then we then explain, no, that only when nature offers. Okay, so it's an awareness thing that not everybody is aware of, that nature has a certain rhythm, and regenerative tourism also means to go with this rhythm.
I know.
Which is a learning effect, what you just also mentioned.
Yes, and I also think what you mentioned now, this knowing factor, is so important, and that also gives us hope. And then I think of the sister of my grandmother, who used to live in Ytri-Tunga, and is one of the owner of the seal beach, and built that up with respect for the seals from the start. And I remember because she was and her husband, they were one of the first who started tourism in Snæfellsnes. So it is a quite young sector and have been growing very fast. And I remember her making a wonderful jam and with wild berries that she picked and serving on her breakfast table. And once she mentioned that she thought it was so sad to wash the dishes after the breakfast and have to throw away all this jam that she had put so much effort into. And then someone told her, why don't you put a label on the table, homemade jam? And after that, she never have to throw anything away because people were just licking their dishes. So I think it is different to work with people in tourism than fish, for example, because you get the response right away, and people, not everyone at least, are idiots. They are thinking, and if it's something they like, they continue to come, and if they don't like it, they don't come. So we really have to do our homework again, and for us and for them, and also this people, most of us want to make difference. We want to leave not only money, but also, if we can, contribute to some citizen science project, and we want to collect experiences, and one of that can be eating a local jam. But then you have to know that it's local. You have to know what berries you can find in Icelandic nature, etc. And I sometimes feel that sometimes we don't understand how much beauty we have in those simple things, and sometimes we don't have to change a lot just to label it, just to talk about it and educate about it.
I agree, and especially now I see this also a lot in social media. The society is changing a little bit, especially the younger generation, towards wanting more quality, high quality local food. So that fits very well for us. We are working in regenerative tourism.
Yeah.
Ragnhildur, now you just mentioned citizen science, which is a good keyword because a very important part of our Nordic project is citizen science. And especially our project leader, Ólafur Atladóttir, she puts a lot of emphasis on driving this part of the project further. And just like in a nutshell, one can say that citizen science is a collaborative effort that involves researchers, and this can be professional or amateur researchers, the local community and the wizards to do some research project together. And the idea is that the research doesn't happen like only among researchers in laboratories, but is made more accessible to the locals and to the visitors. And that can even lead to that visitors feel more connected to the area, like you also mentioned before, by knowing more, by being involved. And that can deepen their experience and also connect them better to the locals. And the locals in turn can feel more connected to tourism. Like you said, not feeling that tourism is an obstacle, but actually something that is helping. And you are part of this work package in our project, Citizen Science, and you contributed to creating a seal project in Snæfellsnes. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. I will just jump right into describing, because I would like to tell you a lot about it. But to make a long story short, we ended up with picking Ytri-Tunga, which is this beach on the south side of Snæfellsnes, where there have always been a lot of seals. And long before the definition of regenerative tourism, this couple, the sister of my grandmother and her late husband and their sons, started tourism, and they protected the seals. And that led to this colony of seals so it's a great spot where people can look at seals, and inhabitants and guests have always been welcome to come and join, and of course they have been working with a lot of good people and scientists, etc. But with those eyes, and also again, I don't know anything else than just being honest, so I'm just going to tell you. So also this citizen science, I think I am up to date in many things, but still you have to chew on the words citizen science. What is it? And you read up the definition, but I know more about it now when I have tried it. And I do know that it have to be a real question. There have to be, because we don't want any greenwash here, and you have to know what you're doing. And if you are asking people to give something of their time, they have to be secure that we do use the information, and there are scientists on the other end. So just to make a long story short, we put together in this project boat. I sometimes think of the projects as boats, and a very important step for me as being the only member of staff in the regional park is to, when the board have decided, okay, we are going to participate in this project, then I have to be sure that I have the right people on board, because one person don't do anything. They have to be the right people, and they have to work together.
That's a very nice metaphor.
Yes, because I'm married to a farmer, and I used to have all the metaphors from agriculture, but of course fishery is very important in Snæfellsnes, so I've been practicing.
That's very nice, sailing on a project boat.
And also, Magdalena, you can think of the project of the regional park now for 10 years. Some projects are big, and they're supposed to sail forever. And some boats are, or the regional park is in charge, and we hire the crew, and we pay for the petroleum and everything. Some boats, we are not even on them. We are just standing on the harbor and waving, So the regional park can have different roles in the project's boats, if we continue with that metaphor. And in this project, I had the responsibility on the behalf of the regional park to get the boat floating and get the right people on board. And I do have a Facebook site for the tourist sector, and I put out there, for example, okay, we are participating in Nordic Regenerative Tourism. We are going to have a citizen science project. Who wants to join?
Okay, so it was mainly professionals, or was it also just like individuals living in Snæfellsnes?
Well, the project idea was to have a place where there are a lot of seals, having tourist companies who would invite their guests to participate, and they had to lend binoculars, because that was one of the things. Because it's to make. Again, we don't say citizen science, okay, go to Yttertunga and look at seals. That's not citizen science. But we created, with very good help from scientists who knew exactly what citizen science was, and I'm so grateful for Jessica, for Cecilia, for Sandra, and the Seal Center in Hvammstangi. We had a wonderful team of very good scientists that was linked to the Nordic Regenerative Tourism. So that was one foundation, and then my part was to get the right people on board from Snæfellsnes, those who would like to. And of course, in the beginning, I thought I always want to make it big and get everyone involved. But then again, the scientists said, Ragnhildur, relax. We are just starting this journey. We don't need 100 people. We don't need 1,000 people. We just need one hotel who will really understand and be involved and train their staff. And the people who come to Hotel Snæfellsnes in this case, many of them are eager bird watchers, have their own binoculars, etc. But also the hotel had 2 of them, and we had calculated that to participate in the whole project, you would need maybe up to 4 hours, and that's a lot when you think of people are strict in time, and the best time to watch the seals are on low tide. So we had to inform them. We have to give them information of what is the best time. There are 2 types of seals that live around Iceland, grey seal and harbour seal. You can see others, but they don't live here, can you say? And one species is endangered and the other is in trouble. So that was the burning question. How many are they? How are they behaving? Are they on land? Are they in sea? Do we see more of them when the weather is like that, or da-da-da? So again, to make a long story short, if you would do the total project absolutely according to the books, you would walk 1.6 kilometers, 2.A, point B, point C. You would have a form to fill out. You would count seals. You would try to find out, are they grey seals, are they harbour seals, are they in the sea? You would write down the weather and is it rainy, etc. and your comments. And you would fill out, there was a QR code, so there was a survey, and you could take pictures and send them via email. And I really loved this, but I think we learned. And even though I have so deep respect for the researcher, and they did so wonderful work, and I think this was a brilliant project, but still it can be improved. It was so great to hear the students from on all ages. Because children are so clever, and both they were curious about do they pee, in the sea or etc. But also, does the weather have impact on their behavior? And this, when tourists think that the seals are posing, that is a sign of a stress. So we need to learn, we have to understand, and we always do, but it's getting less and less, and I hope this project have also helped. We do get phone calls from well-meaning tourists who are maybe hugging a seal pup and saying, where is the mother? I've been waiting here for an hour and the mother is not coming. And then we have to explain, would you please go away, because the mother is just waiting for you to go away. Yeah. So learning, understanding. Yeah.
Let's say if I'm a guest in Hotel Snæfellsnes, if I am interested in citizen science, first of all, how do I hear about it as a guest when I'm staying there? And what is the problem that I'm solving? Because I'm pretty sure there must be some kind of problem statement why these guests are encouraged to be part of this, right? Yeah. Can you maybe say this in a nutshell, like how this is introduced to the guests?
Yes, but I have to say that this is not ongoing right now, because we did this in a period of time, and now we have wrapped it up in a report, and we are having workshops about it, and then the next step is another meeting with all these wonderful people about how we continue.
Yeah,
but to answer your question, we trained the staff of Hotel Snæfellsnes, and Thor, of course, being in charge and being active in Nordic Regenerative Tourism. And we did have papers, we did have printed out materials, and also when people were coming to the restaurant or they would sleep, there would be available, you would see in a frame and it lying on a
on the counter or something.
Okay. And so that would maybe catch your eyes. And then also they were trained so that, those are people interested in birds or those are nature enthusiasts. They would really tell them about it. But all the guests and also inhabitants who came to Hotel Snæfellsnes for half a year could lend binoculars, and we had also trained the staff of all the visitor centers, and we had trained we had informed the people of Snæfellsnes, so everyone could participate. But we, in this citizen science project, we were only taking the guests who did the whole package.
Okay.
Because we were learning from that. And you are asking, what are the problems they are helping to solve? And that is, we have to learn more about the seals. We have to know how many harbour seals and how many grey seals are there, in this case in Ytri-Tunga. How are they behaving? How are they behaving, when there's a lot of people, when there's less people?
And how do you follow up with the guests? Like, do they somehow get reports, or do they see the results at some point?
Those who clicked the QR code, they were part of the survey, and they gave us their email, and also those who left in paper form, and they get a follow-up.
Okay, that is so interesting and so important.
Yes, you're right. That is very important, because if you give, in this case, up to 4 hours of your precious time in Iceland, you need to get, and that is completely right. And we have learned that we have to make sure that everything is on the table, but it also has to be fun.
If you had to answer super spontaneously, what is the biggest learning that you took so far from the Nordic project? We are 2 years in, we have 1 more year to go. What would you say is the biggest takeaway for you so far?
Just that there are so many great people out there, and there are so many wonderful tourist opportunities, and the best ones are also designed for the inhabitants in some way. And also, if I think you agree with me that when we go abroad, we would like to participate in something that the inhabitants also would like to participate in.
Yeah.
And so if you get connected to local food, local culture, local wildlife, and you learn and maybe even transform your life, you become a better person. I know I'm going, taking it maybe a little bit too far, but the best moments of this project have brought me there. They've just brought tears in my eyes of like respect for all these wonderful people that we do have, and I have also so much. I believe in that when universities and knowledge connects to local knowledge and the world of work, wonderful people, things can happen. And if we also have the schools on the side, I sometimes say Snæfellsnes is a wonderful place to try out some case studies like this, because the people of Snæfellsnes are trained in working together, and they want to work together. We totally do not always agree, because that would be unhealthy, but we do share the same goals, and we're willing to work on it. So, and to be able to see that also in Faroe Islands, Norway, Denmark, wonderful.
Like in the last question, because Nordic is a 3-year project. We are 2 years in now. We are in our 3rd and last year now. Once Nordic is finished, which will be in the beginning of next year or spring, how do you plan on making sure that regenerative work in your professional and also private life continues? But let's focus on the professional life. How do you let Nordic or regenerative tourism keep on living?
Yeah, I think that this is just a next step in what we have been trying to do, and the regional park will really try to work on this path with now stronger tools than before, and also using this in our other project. We are hopefully becoming UNESCO Mentioned Biosphere Area in 2025.
Wow.
I think that adds perfectly into regenerative tourism, if you ask me.
Great.
We also have like EarthTech certification in Snæfellsnes now for 15 years. That's about sustainable tourism and also about regenerative tourism. And so I think I'm just going to say it again, like those who are not going to take this path, they are going to lose. And I don't know what they will lose. Will they lose their community? Will they lose their nature? Will they lose their tourists? I think that is this is the way to go, to understand your environment, understand your community, and work together. And we have to, I know not all tourists are thinking about this. I know that, but a very important part of the tourists are, and this is also the best part to work with. So that's like a win-win again.
Yeah, and maybe that's also part of regenerative tourism, to kind of attract these tourists that are thinking about that, and keep them.
Yes.
Okay, that was very interesting talking to you, Ragnhildur. I think we should stop here, and thank you so much for coming today and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.